Good morning, children. Today we are doing our creative writing lesson. And for creative writing today, we'll be looking at this lovely picture that we have in front of us. Good. It's a picture of a place where animals are kept and taken care of. Does anyone know what this place is? Yes, it's a farm. This is a farm. Now, for creative writing, sometimes we may write about objects or things like our toys. We may write about places like a farm or the beach or the mall, or we may write about people. Now, here we are going to look at first the objects that make up the picture. Now, when you write about a picture, you have to look all around. Now, we're looking all around this picture and we're looking at what makes it up, all the objects are in the picture. Now, we will not write about everything today. We are just going to choose some things to write about. Okay? Now, let's first begin, as I said, by naming what we see in the picture. Let's look at the center of the picture, the middle. There's a red building in the middle. Does anyone know what that building is? Yes, it's a barn. This is a barn. Let's write the word barn. Now we write things down so that we won't forget. Let's go. B, R, two letters giving the R sound. A and R. Barn. Here we have a barn. Good. Now let's see what else we can find here in the sky. That's a cloud. Let's sound the word cloud. Owl. Cloud. So let's write the owl and the cloud. Very good. What else can we see in this picture? Yes, in the sky there's sun. Ah, hmm, sun. This is what the farmer drives around the farm. Anyone knows what it is? Yes, it's a tractor. Let's write the word tractor. R, a, o. Now, when we pronounce this, we say tractor, but it's really spelled tractor. O and R at the end. Now let's look at the last picture here, last objects. We have two of them. They look like grass. It's actually dried grass, and we call dried grass hay. Let's sound it out. Huh? Remember the A sound, two letters. A, not I, but Y. That's how we spell the word hay. Now let's look over the objects that we've done so far. Here we saw barn, cloud, hay, tractor, and sun. Now let's say the words after me. Let's go. Barn, cloud, hay, tractor, sun. Now it's time to write sentences. Before we write a sentence, we can talk about the objects. Most often we use words that describe. Now, describing words are really words that tell you what something looks like. It could tell about the color, its shape, or its size, or even how many of it. Okay? Now let's look at each of these objects and we are going to use some describing words in our sentence to say what these things look like. Let's go. The barn. Let's talk about the color of the barn. What's the color of the barn? Yes, it's red. So that word red describes what the barn looks like. We can use a word to talk about the size. Let's compare it to the tractor. Is it the same size as a tractor? No, the barn is bigger. So we could say that the barn is big and it's red. Let's look at the cloud. Can you imagine what it'd be like to touch a cloud? Ah, yes, it would. I imagine that it would feel fluffy because it's so far away. It looks fluffy and soft, just like cotton candy. So a cloud can look fluffy and soft. And what the color? What's up about the color? Yes, we can describe it as white. When we use color, we also describe things as well, like the red band. So the cloud is white. It can be fluffy and soft. Okay, let's look at the hay. We have more than one heaps of hay. We have one, two. We can describe them by using number. We say there are two heaps of hay. We could look at their color. They are brown. And we could also look at the shape. They have a rounded shape on top like that. Both of them. So that we could say the hay is brown. There are two heaps of hay and they have a round top. Let's look at the farmer's tractor. Now, right away, we can see that it's the same color as the barn. Yes, it's red. The tractor is red. And what about its size? Is it a big tractor? No, it's actually small. That's another describing word, small. So we have a small tractor, a small red tractor. Let's look up at the sun. Right, the sun is yellow. What about its shape? It's shaped like a circle and it's also very bright. So you see, there are many describing words that we could use to talk about these objects. Now it's time for us to practice writing a sentence. Let's get ready. Okay, children, now it's time for us to practice writing a sentence. We use words to name the objects in our picture, and now we are going to choose an object to write about. Okay, let's take a look at our first subject that we looked at, the barn. B R R barn. Yes, let's write about the barn. Now, when we write our sentence, we must begin with a capital letter. That's the first thing we need to understand. And when we are finished, we put a full stop at the end. Now, in order to put our sentence on paper, we have to first think about it in our mind. What we think about, we can write about. So let's think about a sentence about that barn. Remember all the describing words we used for it? We talked about it being red and big. So let's make a sentence with that. Let's see. Now, let's think. What can we see in this picture? I can see a big barn. Okay, so we're using this word barn and we're using the describing word big. So let's write that sentence. That's what I we have in our mind. Let's go. I. Now the first letter must be a capital letter. So it's a capital I can k. Now it helps if we sound out our words so that we can spell them properly. Can. I can see e a Now here's the describing word we're going to use. Big. Oh, okay, let's in that line. We want to have a very nice straight line. Okay, so let's write that again. B, I, G. Let's read what we have so far. I can see a big, and then we're going to use this word barn. B, R, barn. And our sentence is complete. Let's read it now. I can see a big barn. Read it with me. I can see a big barn. Now something is missing at the end or full stop. That means our sentence is complete. We're not going to add anything else to it. Okay, so now we've written a sentence. We've begun with a capital letter and ended with a full stop. Our sentence is complete. Now it's your turn. I want you to write 2 sentences about the picture. Use any one of the objects that we talked about and use any one of the describing words that we talked about to write your 2 sentences. Well done, children.